G'day guys, just a quick walk around behind the scenes video, so to speak, of our 2020 Halloween light display. Unfortunately we've got a bit of a breezy day, so the audio is probably going to be pretty average on this. Anyway, so what the process is, we're going to give you a quick walk through the props and a real brief overview of the controls. I've done other videos of our behind the scenes of our controls, but for someone seeing this new, or just a quick look at the props and a few new additions that we've added this year. So out the front we've got our P10 tune to sign, that's 4x2, so that's, we've done some other videos, that one's a few years old now. Followed by that we have our air cedar arches. We're using pixels in our air cedar arches instead of strip, so we've got 50 pixels per arch, and beside them we've got some little vertical sticks made out of the same material, and we've just put some pumpkin masks on them to give it a bit of a Halloween look. They just have some normal little stars on top of them. So we've got our 4 arches and our 5 sticks. Behind them we've just got some tombstones made, they're a Bosco tombstone being made in Australia under license from Extreme Lighting Displays. What we've done with them, they're just a Coro one, we've painted them, and then we've just attached some of these cheap foam eBay type little tombstones to them. Now they're their second year in, they seem to be lasting quite well. Really basic, we've just put some star droppers in. Our Halloween display is only up for a few days, so we probably do it a bit rough and ready, and our cable management is pretty poor, to be honest. So we've got 4 of our tombstones, pretty straightforward. So behind that, obviously one of the big new props this year is our P5 matrix. This has been a new addition for our lights displays this year. So this is obviously P5 panels, so we are 8 panels by 7. We're utilising outdoor panels for this. Now I have done another video on that, so I won't go into too much details, probably more about how we're just mounting this one. So we've obviously got some guy wires holding this up, but it's a bit of a temporary location at the moment because we are possibly going to be moving it, so we wasn't 100% sure. So what we're using is some temporary fencing. They're just a base use for some temporary fencing, and we have, might be a bit tricky to see, some NB pipe which is attached to the frame, and it goes into the holes like a mini portable hole. We do actually have to put a couple of stakes either side to stop possibly the bottom moving, and then we're just using some spiral screwing ground anchors front and back with some 3mm, no, it's like, I think it's 4mm guy wires on it. It seems to be holding up. Now we've mounted this on wheels so we can actually move it a little bit easier. Now this frame is very light duty, we are aware of that. We'll see how it goes. So that was how we're doing that. Now I have done another video on this, so if you want to know some more details how we've mounted the panels, like they're fully exposed on the outside, we've got another video for that. So behind that we are also utilising a couple of DMX controlled vertical fog machines this year, which are sequenced as part of our display. Now this is pretty rough and ready really for using them. Obviously we've got them in some cheap plastic boxes, and we've got to uncover them for when we're going to be using them for our light display. Now these are just a DMX control back to our Falcon control that we're utilising, and just so for a bit of easy cable management, we've just grabbed a vent and I ran that through. Now it's a lot of our props we're securing. Probably what we haven't touched on before a lot is some wires we've made up, some tethers, and that goes around, especially something which might be a little bit attractive like a fog machine. Someone might try the nick, and that's just padlocked back to a tether that we're using for our big matrix. We've got enclosure boxes around. We'll talk about the controllers a little bit in a moment. We've just got some really basic static props over there. There's another DMX fog machine there. Then we sort of move on to our house props. We'll start probably from this side. There's some more Boscoyo, or actually made in Australia from Extreme Lighting Displays, tombstones. Now they're the matrix type ones. We've created some sub models for that for our sequencing. I can't remember the pixel node count. They're about 160 odd for each one. They get some cool. You can actually just get some lettering like RIP and other bits and pieces across on them. Now they're just held on with a couple of star droppers and cable ties. So we just got 4 of them, and they've actually worked out pretty well because we had a bit of a dead spot over on our display on this corner. We was actually thinking about putting the matrix, the big matrix, over in this corner, and we might do that next year also. So beside that, just sort of continuing across, we've got our house outline. Now this is what we've used for a few years now. It seems to be holding up quite well. It's just 25mm conduit with holes drilled in it for our bullet pixels. Now that's pretty standard, and they're just secured on with some brick clips onto the brickwork. Below that, we've just got some floodlights, floodlights. Some more of our house outline continued. So what was that grey PVC. Now below that, what's a new addition this year, is the modular matrix. We had it made up by six high. I can't quite remember the stats. I think it's about 185 across or something like that. We made it up during the year. Now that's just on a conduit black frame, and we've got these little brackets that we use to hold our original outline on our planner boxes, and we've just attached these to that conduit. Just our modular matrix is there. Now they've been working out really well, seeing it's 6 high. We've been able to get some half reasonable text going across them and some nice effects. So above them we've got our, what we refer to as our wall trees. These are just like we've run these for a couple of years now. They're starting to get a little bit shabby now, the cheap timber work that we used. They're just bullet pixels pushed into the strip. Now on top of them we're just running a little bat. Now during Christmas we run a star on that. Furthermore up we've got some of our spiders. Again, these are made from Extreme Lighting Displays. Just a black Coro mounted with some brick clips. Might be a bit tricky to see. Just a bit of a brick clip up on there. So they've been holding up really well. The next thing was probably going to move on to, we've introduced a couple of other props this year. We've introduced a couple of Gilbert Engineering mother of wreaths and a Gilbert Engineering rosa wreath. Now the effects on the rosa wreaths we've been able to achieve as part of the sequencing is pretty cool. We're really happy with the effects which we've been able to produce on them. Now on these, how we're securing them, they're always a bit tricky. We're actually using a couple of brick clips to support that aluminium frame, and you can't really see, but at the top we've actually got some screws and plugs going into the brickwork on that one. So that's the only prop which we've actually used screws back into the brickwork to secure. The lower mother of all wreaths, they're actually just a couple of brick clips. Now we wasn't too concerned with them because they're not too high off the ground, so if it did sort of fall down it wouldn't cause any damage to really itself or anyone. Now we're running some skins on these Gilbert Engineering props. Now they're just a printed vinyl, and below it we'll have our actual Christmas. These ones have got wreaths on them, so that just gives it a little bit of a Halloween look, obviously, to the skins. They're held on with some supplied little push through, like they're like a trim clip for automobiles. Now the fits are okay on these things, but they either could do with some more clips in them possibly, or maybe push the pixels right through. So it's a little bit, you can sort of see here, they're a little bit loose. If I was probably going to, they're okay. If the budget would allow, we probably would buy dedicated type props. You can sort of like the cutouts a little bit out in a few areas. And again, they're holding up okay for Halloween. Like, we only have our display out for a week or so all right. It's the same sort of situation with the big pumpkin face. Let's see that winter bad. The big pumpkin face on the Rosa Wreath. It might be a bit tricky. Let's see if I can zoom in. You can sort of see some of the holes for the pixels. We had some troubles getting the alignment for this Rosa Wreath onto it. So we actually pushed the pixels into this Rosa Wreath before we fitted the skin. It was a bit of a later decision to fit the skin. So it could have been like clocked a little bit incorrect. So we're not 100% sure if there is, it only fits on one wave. I'm not 100% sure if it's, truly 100% millimeter perfect, the symmetrical design for the Rosa Wreath. So we do actually have a little bit of trouble fitting that one on. It seems to be on there. From a distance it looks fine. I don't think there's any, probably the worst ones that we might see at the top there. You see some of in the square holes. If I get my finger up there without causing it, that's going to cause it look terrible. Yeah, so that's the Rosa Wreath skins. So that's just a white prop behind it. So yes, like we said, our display is quite symmetrical, so we've got the same props on the right side as we have on the left side. Now, a quick talk about controllers. Now, we're starting to get a little bit of spit of rain here, so we'll try and keep this short and sweet. So we utilise a Falcon F48 pixel controller to run our Halloween display. Well, we also use it for Christmas. So how it's working is we have a Raspberry Pi that has FPP, Falcon Player, stored on it with our X-Lite sequencers. Huge shout out to X-Lites, best sequencing software out there. That Falcon Player has our sequencers and scheduled on it. Also shout out to those guys, that's been working really well. So that sends the data to our little cheap grey switch there, and then that's just how we can hook multiple items up. Then it goes to our pixel controller. Now that's a Falcon F48, which utilises remote receiver boards. Now that's what those little things are beside them, there, to send the pixel data and power out to the individual pixels located within the props. I've done a few other videos before of our controller setup, so it's essentially the same. So if you might want to view them, we'll just quickly show you a bit of an example. We utilise ammo crates. You can sort of see the rain's starting to spit now. Ammo crates, and within them we'll have our power supplies, and we're using some Falcon smart boards, and this one has a little bit of a power distribution. Now that's about the only power distribution we use for our display, or power injection, sorry, for the wall trees. Now, I can quickly said they had bullet pixels in them just a moment ago. They've actually got square pixels into that strip. So what else controller wise? The fog machines, they are DMX controlled off the DMX output. Here we're utilising DMX2 for our fog machines. Now that's got like a little converter cable located in the enclosure. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And probably the bigger one there, we on our big matrix, we're utilising a couple of colour light cards and a Raspberry Pi. Might be able to have a quick look. We won't have a little access connection to this one. I'm running a little thermometer in there. I'm just monitoring some temperatures when it's running. Yeah, so that's got a Raspberry Pi, and you can't really see, there's a couple of colour light cards running that, and the power supplies are all located in that. The last of the controllers is obviously the one in that back of our little Tune 2 sign. That's got a octo scroller, still running an octo scroller in that one. That's just actually running in bridge mode. It's part of our sequences because there's not a lot of data really for that sign. So that's a quick overview of our 2018 Halloween light display. Okay guys, thanks for watching.